5. And we are live. Hi, people. Hi, everyone, wherever you're watching from. Greetings. Welcome to the Men at Work, the Kings and Queens talk, where we just, we, oh my God, what's happening? I'm just excited because Fridays give me a different kind of feel. Of this is the time where I get to, clear my mind, talk about what has happened in the week, declutter, and also cleanse like my mind, not just my body. So I'm always excited for Fridays. Also because I'm an employee, I'm still in employment, so it's more like a break from work. But the men at work, yes, today it's the women at work, if that makes sense to whoever is watching. And guys, what's happening? Well, first I just want to apologize. We didn't make it last Friday to because of a lot was happening. Yeah, a lot was happening. But here we are again on another Friday, and today I'm not just alone. I have one other person that's joining me. And her face is not new here. She's been here. She's shared her experience about, her trauma and how she's dealing with it and how she's healing from it. But it's going to be different. We are going to talk about something that most people think it's in heads, and it's very much discouraged in society. I mean, why is it even discouraged? Why is grief discouraged in society? I just want you to ask yourself, why is grief discouraged in society? Most people think that, it's something you can get over like flu, or it should be like 2 weeks, or, you know, 3 weeks or months, and then you're over it. No. And we are going to share our experiences of, we are not experts, I would say professional experts, but we are experts of life, taught by experiences. And that's what we are going to pretty much do today or here. For the people who are just watching for the first time, every Friday, or most Fridays, we come on here and, we talk about mental health in different forms and experiences from the human side of it, not just about things we just read or, other people's stories, but our own experiences. And for those of you who, have watched or have been with us from the beginning, we really appreciate your support. And we ask that you stay with us, you know, as we heal together and learn together. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Madame Esther Natkunda. She's so many things. And one of the things that I really like about her is her energy. There's no moment I okay, I've seen her when she's like really, really not I wouldn't say down, but I've seen her when she's, sick, but still again she'll find a way to make you smile. She'll find a way to like pull through, and that's one of the many things that I love about her. Hi Esther, welcome to the Men
Hi,
at
Rachel.
Work. Today is the ladies at work.
Yes, today's the ladies at
Yeah.
work. Hello,
Today's the
the men
ladies
at
at
work
work.
viewers. My name is Natkunda Esther. Thank you so much for having me today. Yo, oh my God, I see people that are watching. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please comment your questions, your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section. Those that are watching from YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm always happy, but today we're gonna be talking about grief. I wonder if I grieve. Do I grieve?
The fun thing is, okay, it's not
Mm.
funny, but most times when you talk about grief, people expect you to speak about it with this hard face, tears,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you laugh about something like that? Have you been to African funerals of where, you know, people are laughing, like, uh,
Mm.
and it happens so much when they're reading like announcements, rather, is it announcements? Ah, my English
What?
is on
Yeah.
a break. Is it announcements? Like, yeah, I think it's announcements. So there is always someone who's being funny somewhere, and most times it's
Yeah.
like maybe drunkards or someone people don't take seriously.
Mm. Yeah.
And people laugh, and most times you find people asking or wondering, why would you even laugh at such a moment? I mean, it's death. You shouldn't laugh. You should be crying. You should
Yeah.
have this sad face. But we heal by being honest, encouraging,
Mm.
no, 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 rather acknowledging our pain and accommodating it, and then just allow
Yeah.
space for the brain to like process and heal. And also, grief is dealt with differently. You find that some people
Yeah.
will just dance through it or party through it. Well, for some,
Mm.
it becomes disastrous, but for
Yeah.
cultures like Nigeria, is it the Igbo, or correct me if I'm wrong, but is it between the Igbo and the Yoruba? The
Mm.
weather is it's like a celebration when someone dies. Have you seen their funerals? They wear
No.
white, and then they have like,
Oh.
it's like a
Mm.
feast. They even like dance. I'm like, the first
Mm.
time I was watching it, I was like, are you serious? Like, did
Yeah.
someone die at a party? So
Yeah.
different cultures, different people, different
Yeah.
countries, different ethnicities. People grieve like differently for the dead, and
Mm. That's true.
some people it's like culture shocks, but it's the reality of how people go on and move on. Because to some, death is
Yeah.
just the beginning of life. It's not the end of
Mm.
life. You know.
Yeah.
So Esther, when you
Yeah.
talk about grief
Yeah.
as a definition, because I always want to define things, it helps make sense. How I understand
Mm.
it, for me, it's an emotional pain, but it's also a
Yeah.
physical pain. It's not just in the
Mm.
head. It it's
Yeah.
it's it can show up in the body in so many remarkable
Mm.
ways.
Please.
Or
Yeah.
you really feel it. And um I'll tell you this of it happened to me this week. I was reminded, I lost
Mm.
my mom at, I wouldn't say at a very young age, but I was in high school. I was 15. So I would say like a decade on. But I still acknowledge how it's
Yeah.
still hard. Like, for me, I still feel like it's still hard to, it's more like how you're trying to rationalize, you've had
Mm.
how you're trying to rationalize a fever in a dream, and then you wake up and
Yeah.
still reality of, I still have the fever. So it's more
Yeah.
like a wish than a reality. So I lost my mom. um we had a very special bond, and her death left this void that's still unexplainable to date. And for
Mm.
me, I think what hurts me the most until now, it's her absence of, I don't
Yeah.
get to see her, I don't get to talk to her, I don't get to
Yeah.
share what I'm going through. We don't get to celebrate things. So this week, something really triggered me to like to I wouldn't say a breaking point, but to a point where I was feeling the physical pain of
Mm.
real physical pain. For people who have dealt with grief of a loved one, I know it's different kinds of grief. First of all, there are people who have really deep and chronic, grief. For me, I would say mine is more like cumulative. I mean, I've not just lost her, but I've lost, other close people as well. But of course,
Mm.
hers was the remarkable that left that mark in my life until now. And
Mm.
also being the first child of my siblings were young, I had to be strong for them. I had no way of sharing how I even feel. And I had to watch them also dealing with pain on and also try to kind of help them to figure it out or navigate that pain. So, yo, a moment of silence, because it's not easy. It's hard. It's really
Mm,
hard. And
yeah.
back to what I was saying of this week, what I was dealing with, I got to a point where I had to wake up. It started from a call I had with my granny. She wasn't so well, and she's also someone who's like so close. So she wasn't like feeling well and everything, but also mom's birthday. So things like that just sent me off. Like this wave of emotion, like a strong emotion hit me, and my day just went from to like everything dropped emotionally, and from that it became physically painful. So remember, I had to still show up to work. I had to carry through that day. Like you don't carry your pain to work
Yeah, of
physically.
course.
You can carry it
Mm,
emotionally, but you don't carry it physically to work.
mm,
You still have to show up. You still have to do what you have to do. You still have to carry through that day. And that's
yeah.
what's to the point that I made earlier of why does society discourage grief? Like, why
Grieving.
should there be deadlines of how we should, grieve our people, of our loved
Yeah.
ones? Like, why shouldn't people be left in peace to grieve differently? Because when you're grieving, you need social support. You don't need people
Yeah.
discouraging you. You don't need people bashing you. You don't need people telling you, oh, you should be over it, like by now. No,
Yeah.
no timeline.
I,
There
I
ain't
also
never.
don't think African society really cares about grieving. Like, mm, is it even a thing? Like, I see grieving as in African society, grieving is like it's like mental health. It's like really nobody cares. Like it's not a thing. Don't be westernized. Like those are white people thoughts.
Yes, white people.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yo, yes, that thing of it's white people problems.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
am I white? Anyway, no, like seriously, every time someone makes a comment like that, I'm like, do you see my
Yeah.
skin color? Am I white?
Mm.
You mean
Mm.
I don't experience the same things white people experience?
It's
Like the
like
common things of like death or things like that. Because they also
yeah.
experience it, but why should it be different? Like why should I not feel these feelings? Why should I not feel this pain?
I don't think in our
That's
culture we really validate emotions. I
but
don't
though
think yeah.
I would say in African culture, there is a way when you lose someone, there's a way how you have this social support that I
Yeah.
don't see now than before. Because now,
Yeah.
yes, I appreciate technology and everything of, now we have definitions to things and all that and so much awareness. But again,
Yeah.
one of the reasons why people find it hard to even share or heal from what they're going through. And then we end up having people committing suicide or drowning themselves in all sorts of drugs or drinking and
Mm.
waste their lives. And we have so many youth like falling out of the economic systems and
Yeah.
you know political scenes and other things. They would have
Yeah.
become something, but because of how we are criticizing, how we've become judges of all sorts of kinds. So
That's
for
true.
me, from my experience, okay, from when my mother died, there was a lot of social support, I tell you. And it's one of the things that helped us carry through like the pain and everything, like manage all that pain and the
Mm.
loss and all that. Because one, when you lose someone here, the first thing is people will be thinking of, okay, how do we help you to like
Yes.
make arrangements for the funeral, which
Yeah.
it a toll on you as a person. just imagine you've lost your person. Now you have to make arrangements. How am I going to feed people? How am I going to move the body? How am I going to do this and
Yeah,
that? So the
that's
fact that you
true.
have people to like support you through that, it's very
Mm,
important. And then you understand, except for Muslims, other they take like a day or
religions.
even 2 days. Yeah, for mine it
Yeah.
took for my mom it took almost to 4 days because there are other people waiting for to like come and all that. But so there was some procedures to be
Mm,
done and all that. But you get the point of you get people to come at the vigil. People come and talk to you. People grieve with you. People cry with
mm,
you because crying is healing.
mm,
Ugly cry if it's
yeah.
genuine. So people
Mm,
cry with you, they prepare food, they feed people, and then some even stay after the burial and everything for some
yeah.
days.
As you
Yeah.
adjust.
So I would say in our culture, in African culture, okay, from my culture, how I've seen it and experienced it, there is support, or there has been that support before. It's still
Mm,
there today, but I wouldn't say it's not as solid or as genuine as before, because right now you have
mm.
people in your face TikToking,
Yes. Yeah.
you blogging, and you wonder of what's happening. Did you come here to take content of the dead, of my ugly face crying, or to grieve with me?
It's
So
more than
to
grieving.
answer your question, or to answer your thoughts, I
Mm,
think we still have that social support of people coming together to like grieve with you and everything. It's not
mm.
even just death. You've seen things of people losing their houses to fire, or like maybe
Yeah.
there's been a disaster or something, and then people
Mm,
come together to like offer support and support and help of any sort of kind.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
Hmm.
Esther, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, have you
Yeah.
lost someone significant in your life that has got you to a point where you feel like someone is twisting a knife in your heart or squeezing the blood out of your heart? Like, have you have you had to deal with grief in your life?
Yeah. I must say yes. I know it will sound funny because it's not even a family member, but like people that I've lost that I can say have been significant to me and kind of like impacted me in a certain way. First, it was my friend Nyombi. He was called Nyombi Derek. He died long time ago, still a teenager. But of course, like by that time, I didn't. I must say, I didn't really go through the grief of like, or what, because it is his stepsister who I loved the most. But out of his family, like he was also good to me. He was like kind of like a big brother, and then he just died. We made a plan of going to the beach around Easter, and he's like, okay, let me go and see Jaja in the village. And when he went to see that Jaja in the village that night, he died. So I was like, so it was kind of like a shock to me. That's like someone that I lost, and I was like, really, But apart from that, there's a time, I think it was 2022. 2022, I was in Dubai. It was around February, and my friend died. We had even stopped talking for quite some time, like for quite some years. But that's like, if I'm to think about someone that I've lost and I feel like my world is gone, it was that guy, Ronnie. So ever since I was like a teenager, when I was still working in Uganda or living in Uganda, he used to be, of course, he was older than me and he was married. But he used to be like, he used like to see my talents when I'm singing in church or dancing, such things. He could encourage me. I could go like, if I would admire certain people that are educated or people that travel, he'll be like, no, you can't, da 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 da. And then I remember there's a time where like I was struggling so much when I had started working in town and he was a mechanic. And I could go there and he could buy me food, and like over the weekends after church, like we could go and his wife would cook. They would like, it was just a young couple. So it was that. And I never saw him until I grew. It was just like a Facebook friendship because I traveled, I was in and out of other countries. And then I heard that he went to Kuwait. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I even heard from another friend. It's like those people that are dear to you, even if you don't talk with them, like, daily. Yo. And then I remember February 2022, 2022, 2023. Because I came back in March. I think it was February 2023, last year, beginning of last year. Ronnie, how did I even know that he died? I don't even remember who told me that Ronnie is dead, or was it someone who sent me a Facebook a message and then they said, Ronnie Chomia died. And I was like, Ronnie? So the reason why his death hurt me was because it was his first time traveling. Like he was those people. I watched so many people at church when I was growing up that wanted to travel and they lacked money and he helped them. Like choir, his friends, he could help them with money. But for him, even if he had the money, he asked for visas, he never got visas. The only time, it's weird because when everyone wanted to go to Kuwait, they were denied those visas. When they wanted to go to other countries, they were given the visas and he was giving them help. Now, for him, the first time he got a visa, he got a Kuwaiti visa. And like, I mean, we all know like Kuwait is like the creme de la creme of the Middle East. Getting its visa, it's hella hectic. And when he got his visa, he goes 6 months, he dies in a car accident. So it was so weird because I was in the Middle East and we know Kuwait has a lot of accidents. And I saw on the internet, on an Instagram page, Loving Dubai, they posted like a fatal accident, 6 Africans died. And after like 2 days, someone tells me, there was an accident in Kuwait where Ronnie died. Yo, I felt like God has betrayed me. Like, yo, I feel like God like was not fair. But I was so angry. Like if there's a time where I must have wanted to leave Christianity, it was that time. Like 2023 in February. I was so angry at God. I was so angry. I was like, I'm not even deserving of life. Like he has helped people, like he has helped me. Like for him now, just like a little light that he's seeing out of the tunnel, something that's just happening good for him. And like it's kind of like this God must have given him life. It should be a reward on how many people he has helped. Look at people like me. I know people that are flight attendants, people that have lived in the Gulf. They are married, they've built houses, they are richer than him, and he helped them. Like, God, how dare you? I was so sad that I started, my mind was thinking accidents all the time. In that week, I got 2 accidents, 3 accidents in Dubai because in my head, I was thinking about accidents. Like I was like, oh well, if Ronnie died of an accident, I might just as well die of an accident. And every time I could think about it, like I could project it onto my life. I was so sad. Like that's yeah, that's something that I can say. Like if there's grief of losing someone, like imagine me, like I was just like a random church girl who knew him. Now imagine his kids, his wife, how they must have
Yeah.
felt. Yeah.
My sister, I feel you on. I really relate with you on the anger side of the
Mm,
situation, that loss, because I must say when the first time I suffered loss, that I could understand, that I could comprehend and everything. Of course, that was my mother,
mm,
and for me, I felt so angry. Like I felt so, I was distraught. Like about that loss, I was so frustrated. I was like, God, of all people,
Why?
like where we've been praying
How?
and everything. Exactly. And I think I was more on the polar side of grief, because I didn't know one else on how to handle this traumatic loss
Yeah.
of now it
Mm.
has happened. And you know, I don't know if you've experienced this, but when someone close to you dies, you know how people are like, you have that fear of being near to dead bodies or to the
Yeah.
corpse thing. I don't. I actually want to be as close as possible. And now this is what happens. The more you look at
Yeah.
them, the more you convince your mind that you want them to say something or respond. You start seeing things. That was happening. I was hallucinating. Like at
Shit.
one point I saw her moving, I saw her talking. I remember really bothering my grandmother about it, and I'm like, she's still alive. She's I saw her, I swear I saw her shaking or something like that. But yeah, because
Wow.
they were older and they understood death better than I did, they tried to
Yeah.
like counsel me and hold me in that
Mm.
moment and everything. And it's not until I started on the healing journey of, okay, now reality kicked in and I
Accent,
accepted
yeah.
that. Yeah, now it has really happened. So I had to, like, after the processing, I had to acknowledge what had happened. I had to embrace
Yeah.
what had happened. And then my brain
Mm.
started making space for, now how do I move on from this? How do I now
Yeah.
focus on school, because I was still in school? How do I now focus on seeing all this love that's was coming in, and
Yeah.
from my relatives, because they really came through, they stepped in 100%, but
Mm.
again, it never takes away that absence of void you feel. No amount of
Yeah.
love, no amount of support can ever, like, take away that void. But I must appreciate and I must admit that there is no way you can heal from grief if you don't first acknowledge it as a person, and make,
Yeah.
yeah, make, like, not even convince yourself, but convince your brain, because it all starts from the head,
Yeah. Making
comes,
peace with it.
make peace with it. You've talked about your losing your friend in an accident and how that made you feel and
Yeah.
everything. And you reminded me of a cousin I know who lost his brother. They were apart growing up, because one had grown up from
Mm.
the States and the other had grown up from Uganda, and they had grown up with different parents because the parents had
Mm.
divorced. Yeah, so they used to meet once in a while and talk, so they were close. Yeah, so he comes back
Yeah.
in Uganda, and he meets his brother. They are having a good time and everything. And
Mm.
he's a few months later, he's killed in a car accident. So I saw how this boy, first of all, was shattered, like his world was
Mm.
shattered. And then unfortunately he sought, like, um solace in drugs and other things, which didn't
Yeah.
help the situation, just made it worse. But
Mm.
I saw how traumatic this got when one time he said he can no longer take taxis, like public
Oh,
taxis.
yeah.
Never.
Yes.
Because
Oh
that's
my
what
God.
he told his brother. So there is no way in his life you could ever convince him to sit in a public
Mm.
taxi, because to him it's what happened. It's I'm going
Yeah.
to die. It's my brother is
Yeah.
dying all over again. So you find that
Mm.
so many times we get to relive these moments because of what's happening around us, like that triggers. And that's what people don't realize, that
Mm.
there's no destination with grief, Esther. There is no
That's true.
destination with grief.
Yeah.
It's just a work in progress of, you learn how to fix things, you learn how to
Yeah.
carry on. And I must
Mm.
admit, takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot
Yeah.
of, it takes a lot of, um I wouldn't say detaching from reality, but accepting reality. Because
Gotta be at Delulu. I think
no, sometimes you gotta be at the Lulu to get over the pain. I
yeah.
tell you. I tell you, especially
Yeah.
if you're not the kind that, disclaimer, we don't encourage any sorts of drugs or
Yeah,
use
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
anything that's going to ruin your life to get over grief.
Yeah.
Get over it in the most healthiest way you can. That's
Yeah.
exercise, eating well, sleeping well, you know, social support. You could go to good parties or
Yeah.
activity, just help you
Yeah.
relieve or be alive again. But I'm saying sometimes you've got to be Delulu. There are times when I just shut out, zone out, and be in my world. And I'm imagining a world where, okay, now, yes, I am with my mom, we are having a good time,
Yeah.
just to kind of feel
Hey,
like,
because I feel like also if you've lost a lot of power, it can suck you in. Yeah, but also like I'm wondering, like, is grief only for, do we only grieve those that are dead, or we can grieve people that are still alive and they're just no longer in our lives?
good question, good question. I don't know. The people who are watching in the comments would really like to know. And also, I don't think like grief is caused by just death of a loved one. Uh
Well, Rachel, sorry, the people can't hear you what you're saying because you're not on the screen.
oh,
So,
cameraman.
producer,
Sorry,
producer,
producer. Producer, what are you trying to do, Mr. Producer?
yeah.
I was saying, just to respond to what you were saying. First, I was asking the people in the comments or whoever is watching, and comment right now later when you watch this video,
Mm,
like what
yeah.
Esther's just asked. But for me, I don't think it's just caused by, the death of a loved one. It could be you've been displaced by a war, a conflict, and now you're a whole refugee or something. So you're grieving what
Mm,
used to be your life, your home, your everything. And other people, you've seen people with chronic
yeah.
illnesses, right? Or
Yeah.
you've had people. For me, I think also, um but from the some of the knowledge I have from reading certain things about grief and all that, and also people's
Mm,
experiences, but also what I would understand grief to be. I don't think we just grieve
mm,
the loved ones. We grieve failed relationships, marriages,
yeah.
you know, uh, we grieve failed dreams. I could have a dream of
Mm.
uh, being what? A president one day, a minister, or working for big
Yes,
organizations.
dreams.
And
Yeah.
you get to a point in life where you feel like you're stuck, it's not making sense, or other
Yes. Yeah.
times
I
you
mean,
grieve what used to be your life, you know, of
yeah.
I used to have this
Mm.
beautiful life. Some people were born, okay, not born, but once had a planned,
Rich.
what I call planned kids. They were once planned kids, and then all of a sudden, life happens, and now they have to live this
Yeah.
kind of life that they never imagined. So they grieve what used to be their life. So I think it's really different things that we grieve. And for
Mm.
people who have suffered all kinds of loss, we
Yeah.
grieve we grieve different things, and we also grieve differently. So uh because for me, what I would say, what has been the biggest loss in my life is, of course, my mother. That's what I grieve rather the most, and that's what I would best.
Oh, I
Yeah,
wonder.
the most
I wonder what
traumatic,
has been. Yeah.
biggest loss ever.
What has been my biggest, greatest loss? Hmm. I think what has been my biggest, greatest loss is my youth. That's like something I grieve. That's like, which is like personal, like directly to me. I think because really I don't have like a family member that I know that I've lost, or like I don't have attachment to family members. So what I can really lose, and I'm like, oh my God, it's within me, my dreams, my youth, my time, knowing like I could have done this. Like those are things that I grieve really. Not don't have like a big loss of like an outside. It's isn't this wow? This is very self-centered. My grief is me.
Esther, Esther, you said you grieve your youth. I
Yeah.
see you as pretty much you're still a youth girl. You are still a youth. Okay, do you make me understand this? Because I think I'm kind of lost here. When you say you grieve your youth, the early years of your youth,
Stages, yeah. I grieve my early ages in life. I feel very behind in life. So
like stuck,
hmm?
like
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
think it's
there's a
the
time.
most.
Sorry, I was saying that there's a time where when I was in Dubai, I literally started grieving my entertainment career. Like I cried. I cried. I got sick. I got skinny. I was grieving it. I was like, girl, it's time we let go. Like it was, yo, doesn't that sound like a delulu? Like I saw, like, I was grieving it because I was like, maybe it's never gonna happen. Maybe. I'm very slow. I'm getting older. I don't have the beauty that society needs for me to be in the industry. I'm like, I don't see any opportunities. Da, da, da. I started, yeah. eh,
Hmm.
Life changes.
Well, sister, you're not alone. You're not alone. I can relate again, and I'm sure so many people can relate. There's a point you
Mm,
get to your life and you feel like you're stuck because you've had
yeah,
these dreams of these goals, and a year goes by, nothing. Second year, nothing, or third year, nothing. And you feel like,
mm,
what am I even doing with my life? Like, why is this not happening? And it's
yeah,
even so hard with this internet and people slapping us with their lives, like it's in our faces, you understand? But
yeah,
again, it's in the
yeah,
reality of behind the scenes. Some of these things are
yeah.
scripted. I feel like
Mm,
sometimes we put a lot of unnecessary and a moment of
pressure.
silence for the ancestors, unnecessary pressure on ourselves just because we
Yeah.
want to belong, just because we want to relate, just because we want to,
Mm,
be accepted, other than being
mm,
ourselves. And when you look at most of the reasons why the youth right now are, really becoming like the things like drug abuse
yeah,
rising, even a trend. You have people like smoking
I
online,
told you it's
it's
crazy.
encouraged. It might seem like fun and games and
But
cool until it gets out of hand.
yeah,
But it's also not the way to cope. Like seriously, it's not the way to cope. And I say this a lot. We all are destined to succeed differently, like at different time intervals. For some people, it's their early 20s. For some people, it's their early 30s. For some people, it's their
yeah,
40s or 50s. And once we convince our minds that, hey, I understand that this and this and this is happening, or I want to get here, or I want to achieve this, or I want to succeed in this, or I want to get this job, I want to have this money, because the economic stresses of life are real. And I feel like most of our issues come from there because there's so much things money can do. So, and every time you don't have money or enough money to do a lot of things, take care of your health, to take care of your love and family, like your
Mm.
love and belonging, to take care of your contribution in society, not just
Yeah.
the job or the community, but so many other aspects as well. Spirituality also requires money.
Mm.
Even us coming on here requires money.
Yeah.
So when you get to a point where mm, even you can't even afford basics, or you can afford
Mm.
basics but you can't afford other things, or you can't afford the lifestyle you want, or you can't
Stress.
maintain stress, and it goes back to now the topic today of, if you've had that kind of life before, or you're around people who have this kind of life and you don't have,
Mm.
maybe you feel like if you had this you would be like them, or you would be like this, you start grieving all those things. You're like, you start questioning, you start feeling so
God,
stuck.
why?
You're like, why? You start feeling so lost.
Yeah.
Nayenga pressure is real.
Right.
But
Mm. True.
the pressure is real.
Yeah.
But Esther, I
Mm.
I
Yeah.
see you very, I would say, I see you're very, when you look at the society today, and you know how everything is happening and everything is going. I mean, we have politics, the political scene, not just in Uganda
Mm.
but also in Africa. It's hmm,
Yeah.
our neighbors Kenya here, they were, it was moto moto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has just kind of cooled down a
Yeah.
bit, and also the president is taking some type of actions, but
Mm.
sure there's a lot of grief, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of loss that has happened, during that period, and so many people now are going
True.
through the stages of grief. And
Mm.
when you look at our society or the scene, right, not just the political scene but also social scene, there's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure, from
Mm.
there's a lot of pressure of how to be keeping up here, keeping up there, achieving
Yeah.
this, achieving that. But there's just a lot of loss in so many ways, in so many, in so many people's lives.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing, me, I would encourage, you know, is from my experience at my young age, is acceptance or acknowledging,
Yeah.
and also realizing that, okay, what next? Like, are all these dreams just going to die? Is my life just going to
Mm.
stop at whatever kind of loss I've suffered?
Mm.
Because in as much as we wish for life to be different, for all these things not to happen, they're still going to
Mm.
happen. And we cannot prepare ourselves enough for what is going to happen, because most times
That's
some things
true.
that happen are unexpected. So there's,
Yeah.
yeah, we can do all the preparation, which is good. It's better to be equipped than not to be equipped.
Yeah.
So we can do the work for those of you who have experienced all kinds of loss in your lives, whatever definition you give it, or whatever loss that has been, from the hugest kinds of losses to the smallest. And
Mm.
um also we talk more about it because people want to relate, people want to know how have you dealt with it. So many times we see people and we're like, hey mama, I really admire
She
that
does.
person, they never get sad,
Mm.
they never
Mm.
have these moments of,
Mm.
yeah, they I don't think they've even known pain. But also we have to
Mm.
spread awareness, because if there's ignorance, that's how you have a society that's discouraging grief, of,
True. Yeah.
yeah, giving people timelines that you, after 2 weeks you should be over it, or you just drink, you will be over it, just
Yeah.
party, you'll be over it. And what does that lead to? Depression. anxiety,
Mm.
so
Mm.
many things. Yeah. So, Esther, what do you have, like, from your experience, but also now that you know better, and
Mm.
this is something you've experienced, but I'm sure you've had to deal with not just death, but also other kinds of losses in your life,
Yeah.
or loss in your life, but that
Mm.
has stopped you from, different versions of Esther going on a healing journey,
Yeah.
uh, self discovery. So, what do you tell the people who are watching, or the young youth today who's trying to battle
Mm.
through all these struggles?
Like from me, the I think the biggest thing that I've had to teach myself is nothing lasts forever. Yo, I can't even stress so much because for me, I'm a person who can get in my head so much that if something happens, I can I can suck myself into that and forever. But I've learned in this life, life goes on. Life goes on. Nothing lasts forever. Be it you lost a person, of course you're not gonna bring those people back to life. Be it a relationship that's lost, a friendship that's lost, a job that's lost, a career dreams. I have realized nothing lasts forever. Life will go on, and the hmm, and also the quicker you accept that you know what this is a situation right now, but we have a life to live tomorrow, the better. Mm, Checho, the better. Yeah, the quicker you will move on and start seeing that kubanga, if you just suck your mindset into this moment forever, oh my god, hey, that
You
moment will
stand
suck you
your
forever.
growth. Yeah.
Ah,
True.
so
True. I accept you stunt your growth, because then you're not just holding that moment, but you're holding so many other things that should have
yeah,
happened. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And
that's
also,
true.
don't seek help in things that are just going to make it worse for you, because
That's
those
true.
are just illusions. They're just
Yeah,
temporary painkillers. You know how you
yeah,
have.
like I heard like you get out of this relationship and then you want to get into another relationship so you can get over the other. No.
Heal, people, heal. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm just sending hugs and love and light to whoever is dealing with pain,
yeah.
or
Mm.
pain you can't even talk about, because you realize, Esther, like, um it's so hard to talk about pain for people to
Yeah.
understand how you experience it, because aside from the shame and all that, we've some of us
Mm.
want to feel like we are so strong. I can deal with this, but
Mm.
also, again, because
Mm.
of what has happened, you feel like they'll not understand me,
Yeah.
like, what's the point of talking about it? But
Mm.
if you have to talk about it, talk about it. If you have to cry, please cry, because if you
Yeah.
didn't know, crying is a some sort of a painkiller, by the
Yeah.
way. Speaking of
Yeah.
crying, I rarely see men expressing their emotions
Uh-uh.
when,
That's a topic for
like,
another day. And we need men.
yeah, I that's why I'm like, it would have been so great if we had a man on today, but since we have this every Friday, we can definitely have a man on to kind of,
Yeah.
tell us how they've experienced grief and how they deal with it, and from a man's perspective, because this
Yeah. I see
me
the
and
people
Esther
that
are
have
women.
joined and for the people that are going to watch this, uh I think the producer will share the link in the comment section so men can join in so
Yeah.
that hey, yo, me, I would like to, because for me, I really think men are heartless, clear cut period, because this entire toxic masculinity, a man doesn't cry. I'm like, So I really want to know if men cry. And if men cry, what makes them cry? Because at this point, I'm starting, not even I'm already consumed by the toxic masculinity of men don't cry. So I have lost empathy for men,
Hmm.
which is not, yes, which is not my fault. It's the men that have created it that men don't cry. So me, how am I supposed to be empathetic towards a man when men have created it that they don't cry? So
Let
guys,
no,
what? A
Esther.
topic for
You're
another
too
day, and you guys must bring me back.
Esther. Well. This is not me even speaking because we are talking about grief or I want to sound sweet and all, but
Yeah,
experiencing pain in different ways and
yeah.
also understanding mental health has taught me to be
Mm,
like not even taught me, I mean it was already in me, but now I have
mm,
more empathy for
mm.
men and women, you know. I most times I am curious, like I want to understand if you're the quiet person, if you're the kind that isolates yourself, if you're the kind that's doing this or that, especially things that you would see like maybe in relationships or with your
Yeah,
work colleagues or siblings. I have brothers, so I always want to understand, like, first of all, I come in with this of course, what's going on,
yeah.
what's happening, but then I calm myself down and I'm like, okay, I need to understand what's your pain, can we talk about it, how do I help you navigate this. So um for me, I still have much empathy for men, and the fact that they don't even express these feelings or emotions, it makes it even like hard to not sympathize with them, like,
Yeah.
because how do they deal, how if they don't
Next
talk
week.
about it as often, if they don't cry. So guys, we will definitely have a man on next week to revisit this conversation,
Yeah,
but also if
yeah.
you've been watching, or if you watch this, um share with your friends, subscribe so you don't miss out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and also comment to let us know. So also you can jump on the next time and join us. We can share the link in the comment section, so the next time we have this conversation, which will be a Friday, same time, East African time, 8 p.m., so we can have this conversation but also have a man's perspective, because we all want to relate,
Yeah.
and here at the Men at Work, we don't just talk about, how to heal your mind, but we also talk about other things like relationships. Like you see, if you've been subscribed to this um channel, you know what happens aside from the Friday. And we are planning something that's not just these lives, but something bigger than this. So we appreciate your support. We appreciate the time you take off whatever you're doing to come and watch this and also engage. And don't forget to subscribe, guys, so you don't miss out.
Yeah.
We will see you next time. Have a great weekend of healing. Stay peaceful, replenish your energies, heal your mind, and continue to transform lives. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate you making time to come on and, give value to this conversation by
Yeah.
sharing your experience, your knowledge, and whatever information that you've shared that could help someone who's watching. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See you next Friday. Bye.